What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to FBA Capital. And today I'm bringing you guys another daily range case study on none other than NAS100. And today I'm going to be going over the bullish New York reversal trade that I was able to catch today. So without further ado, with that being said, let's get right into this video. And it's going to be a little quick one because there's not really too much to go over, but nonetheless, it's going to be very informative. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start off by marking up the previous day's Asian session range. So from there all the way to here, I'm gonna have to do this. Oh, have the magnet on. It's fucking my shit up right in there. All right, so now that we have this Asian session range, I'm going to get rid of this Asian range indicator. So boom, we have the Asian range. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mark up the previous day's highs and previous day's lows. So we have the previous day's high right there, and then we have all the way down here the previous day's low. So one thing I want you guys to kind of bring your attention to is if you paid attention to yesterday's video and you just overall just watched it, it was a short video on yesterday's daily range case study. You would have watched that, you would have understood that yesterday we ran the liquidity above the previous day's high and the previous day's low. In this case, today, we had a very similar situation in which it ran the previous day's high and previous day's low. Doesn't happen all the time, but as you can see, it happened 2 days in a row. But there's going to be a few areas in price that I want you guys to pay attention to. I want you to pay attention to this low, move this high, and those are going to be the two main important parts. I am going to explain other things, but these are going to be the main areas in price that I want you to pay attention to. So why? We're going to start off with this low down here. Why is this low important? So for one, this is the low of the day, the lowest point of the day. And also, pay attention to where we are price-wise. We are holding this 12,500 big figure level after running below the previous day's low, clearing the liquidity, having the false break, and then also clearing the Asian session range low. And at what time was this? 9:45, so early New York session. So let's start to annotate this. So we have the low of the day at 9:45 a.m. Plus we have the 12,500 rejection along with the Asian range low getting cleared like that. Asian range low and previous day low cleared plus false break. That's what we got. At what time? 9:45 in the morning. And what else? We were also below the 12 a.m. open, leaving us in a pretty discounted area in which we would have been looking to buy. Me personally, I was able to catch my long from 12,520. That is the entry that I had. And if you want to watch the video on the live trade, it is the last video I have on my channel. It is June 2nd's live trade on NAS100. It was about matter of fact, it wasn't even today's live trade. It was yesterday's. Never mind. If you would have been in the stream, you would have known what I was talking about. But now that we have this area down here marked up, this is very important because for one, this is the move that ran below, clearing the London session lows that we have right here to the left. Ran below, clearing these London session lows. And why is that important? Because once those London session lows were cleared, price already was not going to have a London continuation. So at that point, the London continuation setup that I like to look for was invalidated, meaning once this happened, I was already knowing price is either going to have a false break of these lows or it's just going to continue bearish and I'm not going to get a trade. But we got this low, and from here, after the open, price just expanded to the top side, targeting what? We targeted the previous day's high, which is an ideal target that I always target when looking for trades. Why? Because there's always going to be liquidity around these areas. So if you would have been bearish targeting this previous day's low down here, you can see how price tapped into it and reversed immediately. If you would have had this as a target for a short, you would have been out before this happened. Same thing up here. If you would have got in, got out right here, price did consolidate around the area and it did keep pushing, but you're not always going to keep getting that push. So let's have that previous day's high targeted just like that. And now after we got the previous day's high, we have the high of the day that happened at 18 o'clock, which is about 6. It's about 6 o'clock. So we have the high of the day at 6 p.m. At what level? Doesn't really, I'm gonna say the 900 level is a little bit lower, but in all reality, it's just accumulating orders within a small little range. So we have the high of the day at 6 p.m. High of the day at 6 p.m. at 12,900. And I'm also going to be moving towards a higher time frame real quick just to make sure that I'm not missing any other confirmations. Matter of fact, I know I'm missing confirmation all the way down here. There was another reason why I was looking to go long in this area. Besides all these confirmations we already have at that low of the day, if we go to the hour time frame and look to the left, all the way over here, what do you see? I see a fair value gap right in a small area. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull that fair value gap over and look at how price reacted to it back on the lower time frame. So we can see to the left that the fair value gap was already had some filled in. So if we move it down a little bit here, this is the only gap that was left. And as you can see, price ran right into it. So let me add this as a confirmation. Plus 1 hour fair value gap. And as you can see, from here, price ran above, targeting the previous day's high, creating the high of the day at 6 p.m. at 12,900. And this is just overall where price ended up stopping. This has been bullish all day. We consolidated for a little bit when we opened at 12 a.m., pushed higher during the what is it, London session. And then with that London session, we just created these relative equal highs for price to create an area in which it was going to run the liquidity, as it did. So it made the liquidity during early pre-New York and late London session to then keep on pushing later on in the day. So just like that, this is basically the case study that I have for you guys today. Nothing crazy. It was just a pretty clean example of a bullish New York reversal, creating the low of the day during New York session. From here, price ran above, creating the high of the day later on in the London session in the evening. Not London session. I keep getting these sessions fucked up. The Asian session. So now I'm going to be drawing the schematic of what happened today. So we had the Asian session range. Boom. Asian session ranged, pushed up during early New York, late London, created some orders before dropping, creating the low of the day, pushing, had a small retest before eventually reaching for the sky and not coming back. So nonetheless, this is what we had today. Bullish New York reversal. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to journal this, because the same setups that happen today can happen tomorrow, can happen next week, can happen next month, can happen next year. The same patterns repeat on a daily basis. It's not always going to be the exact same, but you got to learn over time to start to visualize these setups and patterns that occur in the market. Because if you see something happen so many times, you're only going to gain more experience and more skill to be able to view these things without really having to put too much effort, if that makes sense. But with that being said, I hope this video was helpful in any way, shape, or form. If it was, make sure you like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. Also, share the video with a friend if you found it helpful, or even if I just gave you an insight to how I personally view the market. So with that being said, tomorrow's NFP, we're going to see what we could do. I'm not really forcing myself to take a trade, but if I take one, it is what it is. I'm up for the week. Not really looking to give back, not really looking to make anything. So with that being said, if I don't go live tomorrow, I will see you all Saturday or Sunday with the weekly market breakdown for this week. So hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Stay safe, stay productive, and stay active.